Welcome. Today we peel back the layers of a luxury life built on the back of a lie. This is the story of a sacred promise betrayed, of a foundation cracked, and of the terrifying moment a woman was told her entire future was merely an inconvenient problem. But what happens when the very thing a powerful man casts aside as worthless turns out to be the key to his own undoing? Before we begin this journey of revenge and resilience, I want to take a moment to speak to the amazing women in our audience. May the strength to rebuild flow into your spirit. May the wisdom to recognize your self-worth be your shield. And I pray that any pain you carry today transforms, as it did for Anna, into your greatest power. Amen. If this message resonates with your heart, I urge you, hit the like button right now to share the strength. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of triumph, and drop a comment below telling us one thing you're fighting to rebuild. Now silence your notifications and settle in. This is not just a story about a fortune lost and regained. This is about a woman who traded a false love for an empire built on her own unwavering integrity. Watch to the end to see the ultimate moment the ex-wife delivered the final, devastating blow. Let us hear the story of Anna.
The small one-bedroom apartment they shared always smelled faintly of burnt coffee and electric ambition. Anna sat cross-legged on a worn Persian rug, her notebooks, meticulously organized with financial projections, lay open on the floor for the company that, for now, existed only in Mark's booming voice and her steady, grounded calculations. Mark would declare, pacing the small living area with the intensity of a titan already presiding over a mahogany boardroom. "We will call it Apex, Anna. Apex Innovate. The top. The highest point." Anna wasn't merely his partner. She was his silent, indispensable engine. Mark was the public face, the charismatic, relentless visionary who charmed investors. Anna was the fortune builder, the one who meticulously handled the cash flow projections, audited the shaky early numbers, and found the structural flaws in every lofty proposal. She was the anchoring precision that kept his grand ambitions tethered to reality. Their relationship was a fortress built on mutual sacrifice and a sacred, unbreakable agreement. Mark had the passion, but Anna had the organizational genius. She trusted in the theme of their life. His success was their shared fortune. They lived with ruthless austerity, surviving on cheap late-night meals and the intoxicating high of future riches. The long, grueling hours never wore Anna down because she genuinely believed every spreadsheet she perfected was a vital investment in their joint fortune. One cold, crisp spring night after Mark secured a small but pivotal investment, he drew her close beneath the single bare light bulb. "Look at me, Anna," he said, his dark eyes earnest and completely sincere. "We're building a fortune together, and you deserve every single penny of it. I swear it." Anna looked at the man she loved. "You are my foundation," she replied. "With you by my side, we can conquer anything." That sacred promise was the whole of Anna's investment. She never doubted the U.S. But as Mark's company left the humble apartment for the high-rise tower, the man who made that vow began to shrink the circle of those he considered essential. Dramatic. When Apex leased its first prestigious corner office, Mark started scheduling late, private dinners he didn't invite Anna to, marking the first subtle yet profound act of betrayal that was underway. The company Mark christened Apex had achieved liftoff. Mark, however, changed with the altitude. The eager young man was replaced by a sharp-edged CEO. His tailored designer suits were immaculate, his confidence blinding, and the essence of the man Anna loved was being slowly encased in the polished, unforgiving veneer of corporate success. Anna still worked by his side as his executive assistant, but Mark no longer sought her counsel on strategy. He merely expected precise execution. Her organizational genius, the bedrock of their fortune, was now taken for granted, a service he quietly absorbed into his own self-made mythology. The shift was slow, insidious, and devastatingly cold. Mark's late nights became later, transitioning to high-level networking events Anna was never invited to. When she questioned the change, his answer was always delivered with a dismissive wave of the hand and a new, patronizing smile. "It's just business, Anna. High-level networking. You wouldn't understand the nuance of the new circle. You need to focus on what you're good at. Keep the numbers tight." You wouldn't understand. Those 4 words became the impenetrable wall between them. The fortune she helped build was rapidly becoming an inconvenient emotional relic of his past. The familiar scents of their old life were often masked by the delicate, high-end fragrance of women Anna would never meet, clinging to the cuff of his suit jacket. Anna's instincts, honed by years of spotting financial flaws for Mark, began screaming at her. She started tracking his calendar, not for work, but for anomalies. She searched for errors in his accounts and instead found a devastating pattern that revealed a betrayal far deeper than just time or attention. Mark had spent years successfully liquidating the inefficient parts of his business model, and now she realized he was coldly applying the same ruthless logic to their marriage. She was no longer essential. She was a liability he was strategically preparing to eliminate for his personal gain. Then, a blinding, terrifying flash of hope and fear arrived, a final, desperate chance. Anna realized she was pregnant with twins. She decided to use this sacred secret, the living proof of their original shared purpose, as her final desperate bid to save the man she loved, unaware that her revelation would only expedite the betrayal. Anna had planned the moment for weeks. She bought the finest ingredients, lit the candles, and chilled the Bordeaux. She desperately hoped the news she held, her secret, would finally shatter the cold, professional veneer that had encased her husband. The key finally turned in the lock. The soft, hopeful jazz music cut abruptly. He wasn't just tired. He was a silhouette of cold determination. "I'm late. Get to the point, Anna," he said, his voice flat. "I have an early flight. This is a bad night for a surprise." Anna's hope withered, but she forced a smile. "Mark, honey, I have a gift for you first." She placed the small box directly into his hand. "It's the best news you've ever heard. It's a promise of our future." Mark sighed, irritated. He snapped the velvet box open. His eyes, devoid of any emotional reaction, registered the contents. A heavy, immediate silence fell. "What is this?" he asked, his voice deadly quiet. Without waiting for a reply, he dropped the box onto the marble floor. The sharp, echoing clatter sounded deafening. "Get rid of it," he commanded, contempt replacing his cool professionalism. "This is inconvenient. No, Anna, this is impossible. I'm done with you." Cracking. "What did you just say? What about the baby? Mark, we're married." Mark finally looked at her, his face a mask of brutal disdain. "I need a partner who reflects the man I am now. She understands my world, Anna. Your place in this fortune we built has expired." "But I'm pregnant with your children. It's twins," Anna whispered. Mark snorted a short, bitter laugh. That is entirely your problem. As for the financial settlement, you'll receive the minimum. The fortune we built is mine. You made your bed. Now you can lie in it. He turned his back on her. The door slammed violently behind him. Anna stood there, alone, with nothing left but the truth of his betrayal, and a tiny, fiercely beating heart that suddenly became her whole world. Mark Powell had achieved his empire, and Anna's loss of love was the cruel, ultimate price. But in the silence of that room, the protective fury of a mother began to take root. Anna was out by morning. Mark's lawyers, cold and surgical, served her the divorce papers and a meager settlement. She used the small, insufficient funds to secure a tiny, sparse apartment near the city limits, a barren landscape that mirrored the crushing emptiness inside her. The expansive, glittering city Mark now commanded had shrunk to 4 gray walls, the relentless, suffocating nausea and the shame. Every wave of sickness was a brutal reminder of the future he had dismissed as an inconvenient financial problem. Mark hadn't just rejected her. He had successfully convinced her that her organizational genius and deep loyalty were utterly worthless. Mark was also disputing the paternity of the twins to minimize any future child support payments. This final cruel act was designed to completely erase her claim to the fortune she helped him build and deny her children their rightful father. Warm. Just as she felt the last flicker of her protective fire dying out, the key turned in the cheap lock. "Anna, you can't just drop off the map," Lily rushed in, Anna's best friend and emotional anchor. She didn't offer pity. She offered a plan. "I don't care about Mark," Lily stated, kneeling beside Anna. "We fix this, one step at a time." She forced Anna to eat, then enforced a nap. When Anna woke, Lily sat with a notepad. "We stopped talking about him as your husband. He's a failed investment, Anna. A toxic stock we're selling at a loss, but we take the profits. You wasted years balancing his books. Now you balance your own." Lily took Anna's hands. "Listen to me. Mark stripped everything away except one thing, your mind. You, Anna, are a genius at organization and spotting opportunity. He just didn't think you were smart enough to use that genius without him. That, my dear, is the colossal betrayal that will fund our revenge." Lily handed Anna a fresh notebook. "He showed you exactly how to build an empire. He simply paved the way for you to build a better one. Mark had achieved his empire, but Anna was about to build a fortune that he himself had paid to teach her how to earn." Lily's intervention was the spark, but the reality of single motherhood was the furnace. When the twins, Jake and Emily, were born, they gave Anna a non-negotiable purpose. Every day was a desperate calculation of survival. Anna worked constantly. She spent her days as a part-time barista, balancing shifts with Lily's sporadic babysitting. Her nights were spent in the blue glow of a cheap laptop, offering freelance proofreading and financial consulting. She ran on fumes, strong coffee, and the fierce, burning knowledge that she could not fail them. Anna was deeply financially disadvantaged, but she was armed with knowledge. Every moment spent balancing Mark's accounts was actually a free, elite masterclass. She knew the mechanics of a multi-million-dollar machine intimately, where the profit margins hid, and precisely how to optimize for growth. She realized her true skill was in identifying the structural flaws of a business and architecting the perfect solution. She had been building Mark's fortune. Now she would build her own. Precise. Her tiny consulting gig was the start of her new life. She deliberately sought out clients being ignored by large firms like Mark's. She delivered exceptional results, building a reputation for meticulous detail and quiet strategic genius. She was disciplined, ethical, and entirely focused on growth, applying the lessons Mark taught her about efficiency, but grounding them in the integrity he lacked. During this phase, the final attempts at contact from Mark arrived. A formal legal letter designed to minimize his child support payments to the absolute minimum. He wanted to ensure his public liability was zero and that he was completely absolved from the fortune he knew Anna had helped him earn. Anna read the letter, his final cruel judgment, and felt a surge of focused rage. She crumpled the paper. Mark's parting words became her final incentive. He thought he had buried her. He had actually planted her. She stopped mourning the past and started charting the future, knowing that to truly protect her twins, she needed dominance. She needed the final ingredient, a platform to showcase her formidable power. Focus. Necessity had forced Anna out of the small consulting circuit. To build the kind of fortune that would permanently shield her children from Mark's pathetic negligence, she needed a power platform. She meticulously tracked high-level business events, waiting for a single, perfect opportunity. It wasn't luck. It was pure, calculated effort that landed her at an exclusive venture capital presentation. Her attention was immediately drawn to a man working alone, Mr. Harrison. Mr. Harrison was a quiet legend in the tech industry, known for his integrity and his unmatched ability to spot structural flaws. Harrison was visibly struggling with a complex market analysis, openly frustrated. Anna watched for only a moment, recognizing the exact, subtle flaw. It was a mistake Mark had nearly made 5 years earlier. Anna, driven by a surge of strategic instinct, walked over. "Excuse me, sir. If you reroute the H2 acquisition through a long-term real estate investment trust, your liability decreases by a full 14%. Mr. Harrison looked up, astonished. "Young lady, that's an insightful observation. Are you in finance?" Anna offered a small, confident smile. "No, sir. But I've had years of highly concentrated, unpaid experience balancing the fraudulent books for an ambitious CEO who thought his wife was too naive to pay attention. I was building his fortune. Now I'm here to build one of my own." Mr. Harrison was immediately intrigued. He saw the fire and the strategic mind Mark had so recklessly dismissed. He saw Anna not as a scorned ex-wife, but as the architecture of a solution. "Tell me more," he said. "I might have a place for someone with your vision." That meeting changed everything. Mr. Harrison offered Anna a junior partnership, giving her the platform to create what she formally christened Phoenix Innovations. He didn't offer pity or charity. He offered power. Mark had taught her ambition, Lily had taught her survival, and Mr. Harrison now gave her the final, indispensable tool, the power to stand on her own. She was no longer scrambling for survival. She was preparing for a final, strategic confrontation with Mark, a move that would prove her true value and redefine the very meaning of the empire she was due. With Mr. Harrison's financial backing and strategic guidance, Phoenix Innovations launched like an arrow aimed straight at the core of the market Mark had missed. Anna was commanding resources and talent. Her discipline, forged in the furnace of Mark's betrayal, was relentless. She was determined to build a fortune so secure that her children would never have to worry about a man's broken promise again. Anna's strategy was the direct opposite of Mark's ego-driven, high-risk approach. While Mark chased headline-grabbing acquisitions built on shaky debt, Anna focused on integrity, stability, and ethical, long-term growth. Her company thrived in niche markets that Mark's apex considered beneath its notice. Her meticulous attention to detail, once Mark's personal administrative asset, became Phoenix's greatest strength. The financial press quickly noted the difference. Apex was a ship listing from leveraged greed. Phoenix was a ship sailing steadily, fueled by competence. Anna's rise was rapid, ethical, and undeniable. In a cruel twist of fate, every smart move Phoenix made was a lesson Anna learned while supporting Mark. He had, in essence, paid for his competitor's education. Mr. Harrison was continually impressed. "You're a powerhouse, Anna. You have the ruthless efficiency Mark always strived for, but you use it to protect, not to destroy." Anna nodded. "Mark is exposed, Mr. Harrison. He has too much leveraged debt on a high-risk acquisition. He's cornered." Mark, blind to any threats, never saw her coming. He was so convinced his money and status protected him that he couldn't imagine the quiet, meticulous woman he discarded was now a major industry player and his most dangerous rival. The news hit the wires. Mark's apex was in dire financial straits, desperately seeking a high-profile, high-value partner to survive. Anna reviewed the internal apex documents that conveniently flowed across her desk, recognizing the desperation in every clause. She smiled, a cold, knowing smile that carried 5 years of heartbreak and hard-won strength. The stage was set for a final strategic confrontation. The man who abandoned her was now forced to negotiate his survival with the ex-wife he thought he had crushed. The wedding invitation arrived first, a heavy embossed cardstock, printed with Maria's self-congratulatory script. Sending the invitation was Mark's final petty attempt to humiliate Anna, expecting her to hide in shame. Anna didn't hide. She used the date of the wedding and the media frenzy it would cause to orchestrate her final, unforgettable power move. She looked at the invitation, then at the finalized acquisition documents for Apex. The timing was perfect. Mark's survival hinged entirely on securing an emergency loan that would require a high-level meeting. Anna scheduled that meeting herself, making sure it coincided precisely with the wedding rehearsal dinner, a moment Mark would already be stretched thin and highly exposed. She stood in her new office, no longer wearing the muted tones of a loyal wife, but a sharp, midnight blue business suit. She spent an hour with Mr. Harrison, reviewing every tactical detail, not for a financial win, but for a personal victory. She was prepared to hit Mark where it hurt most, his pride and his public image. She then drove to Lily's house to pick up her sons, Jake and Emily, now happy, thriving toddlers. Lily watched her friend with awe. "You're a queen, Anna. You're going to clean house." Anna smiled. "I'm securing their fortune, Lily, and Mark will finally be forced to pay his full debt. Not in dollars to me, but in control and pride." Mark thought his fortune and status insulated him from consequence. He was about to learn that the true fortune Anna built wasn't in her bank account. It was in the resilience of her character, her strategic genius, and her unwavering self-worth. She held the legal documents, the proof of her triumph, in her briefcase. Mark was waiting for a lifeline, unaware he was about to meet the woman who would dictate the terms of his complete surrender. The air in the private boardroom of Mark's primary lender was thick with unspoken tension. Mark and Maria were already there, Mark looking haggard and desperate, Maria annoyed that this business emergency interfered with her wedding plans. Anna walked in, flanked by Mr. Harrison, her posture erect, radiating success. Mark looked up, and the color drained from his face. He saw a ghost, but one wearing a seven-figure business suit. "Anna? What are you doing here?" he stammered. "Good morning, Mark. I'm Anna, the CEO of Phoenix Innovations. It seems we'll be discussing your company's survival, as we are now majority stakeholders in the firm lending you the money." Maria scoffed. "CEO? Honey, don't be ridiculous. She was a lowly assistant when you first met." Anna didn't flinch. "And Maria is correct. I was just an assistant. But unlike some, I used the knowledge to build a business out of love and necessity, not greed." She turned her gaze directly to Mark. "I'm here because of the necessity born from your betrayal. I recall a time when you declared 2 children, your sons, to be inconvenient. You tried to erase them from your life." Mark's panic was visible. He exposed his moral failings with the same cold precision she used to audit his ledgers. Anna then turned to Maria. "Ask your fiancé why the terms of my divorce included 0 ownership of our home and why his lawyers fought to deny the paternity of his 2 children. He saw the foundation of his fortune and his family as a liability to be liquidated." Maria, unable to stomach the reality, grabbed her purse. "I am done. You can have him, Anna. You can have this pathetic, ruined man." She stormed out. Anna didn't flinch. "This acquisition guarantees your employees' security. It guarantees a fully funded, non-negotiable trust for Jake and Emily. Your control is now my control, Mark. You chose power over family. Now you get to experience life under the rule of someone who values integrity." Mark, defeated, signed the transfer papers with a shaky hand. The ex-wife he abandoned had just taken his company, securing the fortune he tried to deny her, and ending his reign with a final devastating blow. In the aftermath of the boardroom confrontation, Mark Powell faced financial ruin and social disgrace. Anna didn't take pleasure in his destruction, only in the fact that her children were permanently safe. She immediately secured the twins' non-negotiable trust fund, a multi-million-dollar fortune that Mark could never touch or dispute. Anna was now the celebrated CEO, a genuine ethical titan, but her true victory wasn't measured in revenue. It was the life she built, founded on integrity, competence, and self-worth. Years later, Anna stood on a quiet plot of land in the hills, reviewing blueprints with a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a decade. The house was real, designed by her, and the fortune that paid for it was undeniably hers. Her now-grown twins, Jake and Emily, were happy, successful, and surrounded by unconditional love. She looked at her children, her heart full. "Mom," Jake said, "you're the best CEO ever." "Can we have ice cream, boss?" Emily asked, laughing. "Anything for my greatest achievements," Anna replied, smiling warmly. The ledger was finally balanced. Anna reflected on the journey. Mark's betrayal didn't break me. It forged me. He thought he was denying her a shared fortune. He was actually giving her the blueprint to build a better empire entirely her own. She had lost the love, but she had gained the empire that truly mattered.